Good morning, welcome back to the program. We are talking about water safety with Wayne Drysdale and Alistair Livingston, both of the Public Information Officers, Lifeguard Unit, Ministry of National Security. And we're saying good morning, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Now, we see we have some recent developments for drowning over the weekends.
Yes.
We're wondering what are some of the things we need to be looking out for and to be careful of, especially during this period?
Well, during this period, it's the vacation period. There are a number of people flocking to the beaches. We want to advise the public, you still have to be cautious for you or your party, all involved in your group, There are many factors that you need to look for when we go to our beaches or around our rivers, One of the concerns we have, is that even as you go to rivers, for instance, you may be standing up on a riverbank. But the edge of the riverbank, what happens? Because the water goes one way on the river, underneath may be washed away, and you stand on the edge and it will crumble. So we always advise people as well to be cautious. Look out for these things. It happens, and it happens suddenly.
No, you said that, and that just kind of blew my mind, because normally when I think lifeguards, I think beach, I think sea. I don't think rivers at all.
No, well, basically, it is also part of water safety, because in our country we frequent not only the rivers but also pools and so on, But our lifeguards are basically centered around the beaches. And once we're out on those beaches, you need to, if you go to a beach and you look at the water and it appears rough to you, you have to be cautious. Something is wrong with it. We advise people what to look for. Arriving at a beach, you don't just go into the water. You observe water conditions for a short while. You look to see areas where there may be this brownish discoloration of water, or even as waves come to shore. If there's a rip current, for instance, which is responsible for approximately, we'd say about 80% of loss of lives on our beaches. When these rips pull back out to sea and the waves are coming in, you will notice them by the crisscross action of the waves, because it will push against them. So these are some of the things you'd recognize. You may recognize a lot of foam or debris just in one area. That's also the area of the rip current as well. Sometimes they look very choppy, or just a smooth part of water. And sometimes when this water looks smooth like that, it looks attractive. It looks like the place to bathe. But instead, you're in immediate part of a dangerous bathing area.
And we want to talk about some more of those things that we need to look out for. But Mr. Livingston, let me know, are there beaches that are more dangerous than others? And I also ask that in the sense that we are in this one vacation period, but two is also a different, like rainy season as well.
Yes, there are more beaches tend to be more dangerous. For instance, more in the northeastern areas, Toko, Manzanilla, Mearo, because of the geological location, right? And they are more exposed to the wind and currents and so forth. So people need to pay, special attention to these beaches, and bear in mind on those coastline, the areas that lifeguards actually protect are limited. So, you have a wider range of bathing space, but where protection by the lifeguards, it's not as much. So they need to exercise that level of caution when they go, for instance, camping and so forth. Pay special attention to the condition, as Mr. Drysdale had highlighted. And when you go into the water, you need to pay attention. You're not a good swimmer, you're not a weak, strong swimmer, you don't go deeper than waist depth. Flotation devices venturing into the water, don't depend on these flotation devices, because they are not life-saving device. Whenever you have the kids bathing, you make sure that they are on the closer part of the shoreline, not on the outside of you. Bear in mind the size of the waves, the conditions. You don't go into dirty water. Stemming back to that, from the incident that happened over the weekend, be mindful, the general public, whenever you go to the beach and it's near a river, you don't ever swim in the river mouth. That is a very, very dangerous area, because you have one flow of water flowing in, and then you have that force of water which creates a current. it also creates a trench-like, so that area where the two water actually collide, you have that collision, is going to create some form of erosion that's going to be actually deeper apart from that current is, you know, acting up in that area there.
Okay, because I could actually see some people saying, "Oh, don't get it right here because the water a little warm up."
Yes, yes. You have a nice little mixture, and some people tend to feel that when you feel that little, the little sink or the little, you know, drop like a little a pool or a pond, as they may call it, it's safe. But you're not paying in mind that those two water, and then with the rise of tide, you may get it on a low tide, and on the high tide, you have a greater volume from the ocean meeting where, you know, the river, and it's going to create problems for you, and before you know it, you're going to be swept out.
You spoke about some of the areas in Trinidad specifically where you'd have more bathing area, but less coverage by lifeguards.
Yes.
How should we treat with it? So like, okay, we reach and we have all this space. Should we try to get a little closer to the lifeguard? Should we try to be a little further, give the lifeguard some space? How should we do it?
You try to bathe. I advise most people that go to the beach, try to bathe on beaches that are protected by the lifeguards, because water is unpredictable. You may exercise a lot of caution, and 2 steps away, you could step into a rip current or a pothole, and you have a change in depth and you panic. Nobody actually, especially for a non-swimmer, know how they're going to react to a situation that is dangerous in water. So hence the reason that you need to exercise that level of caution and safety for your family, friends. You need to.
Mr. Dreiser, what's the difference between the yellow flag, the red flag? Are there any other colors of flag?
Well, we generally will use 2 color flags. We put out the red flags. The red flags indicate danger. Danger, particularly towards rip currents that may be in that area. There may also be rocks in that area, or there may be hidden projections. For instance, you may have coconut branches that may fall. Then on the high tide, you don't see them. But when the tide is low, you may just see them. So someone can go dive on them in these areas. So these areas, they will always put a red flag. Red and one, then there's the other flag that's half red, half yellow. And there we'll put 2 and indicate this is a guarded area. And we'll also indicate that this area is where is safe for bathing. Although we say safe, if you recognize the flags of themselves still have red in it, there is a reason for that. Because there's always, you know, sea conditions change all the time. It's not consistent. Things vary. Sometimes we even have what we call like flash rips that can suddenly develop. So I may put people in a particular area and say, right, I have observed this area. It's safe. I want my bathers to come here. And suddenly, one of these rips develop and start to pull everybody in that area. So I now call them in, and the public or come closer to shore, and they get annoyed, you know, but he just put us here, you know. But the fact is, we can only respond to what the sea does. From the time the sea does certain things, we now need to make a reaction to that and in protecting the public. So from the time you hear lifeguards whistle, do not look around for the people that are way out in the deep. The concern of the lifeguard may actually be you. So once you hear a whistle, look around. It may be you, and take the commands of the lifeguard. He's a professional. He knows what he's about. We don't control the sea and its actions, but we try to control your safety in all of this.
Safety in all of this. We want to thank you so much, gentlemen, Mr. Drysdale and Mr. Livingston, for actually coming and letting us know. Because I think some people just feel sometimes that somebody put on a yellow jersey and the whole thing, and all right, but there is, and just the way that you all are stating all these things, I didn't realize that there were so many challenges.
Oh, yes.
What we try to do is, 1, bathe close to the lifeguard, and 2, where everybody bathe, and we bathe too, because we're sure that they know something that we don't know, especially if they're around that area.
Yeah.
But we want to thank you so much, especially in this period where we have so many people going to the beach. Just one more thing quickly, please,
yes,
Mr. Drysdale.
Quickly, you know, lifeguard service is from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. We advise people, as we said, use these beaches, be cautious. There may be people going to beaches that do not have lifeguards. We advise you, find out from people living in the area about water conditions. Somebody may tell you, hey, people drown there all the time. You know, you're not going there. So be cautious and inquire and be safe.
All
enjoy
right.
the
Be
rest of the
cautious, be safe, enjoy yourself. Thank you so much, gentlemen. This is Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago.